Salute, Knicks Nation. The streets are buzzing. Welcome in another live stream to talk about the latest. It's all going down as the NBA draft is around the corner. Trades happening left, right, and center. We're going to break it all down with the latest draft intel for y'all as well. We're going to talk about the latest Knicks coaching candidate out of Minnesota. We're going to answer your questions, talk about it with the chat, the best chat in the biz. The streets are buzzing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Welcome. Great to have you with us. As always, we talk everything New York Knicks at a busy time of year, man. Hype for tomorrow for the first round to kickstart the NBA draft. It's now a 2-day event, as most of y'all know, and man, it means there's going to be a lot more activity. People have reported on it, and it's delivered so far right now. Kristaps Porzingis literally just got traded as I set up this stream. We're going to break that all down right now and get to the latest in the beginning, and then we can get more Q&A in tonight as well. El Tango, Drew Reviews, Johnny in the house. What's up, everyone? The Atlanta Hawks just got Kristaps Porzingis on the cheap. They're building a solid squad right now with Jalen Johnson returning, Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, Okongwu, and they've got obviously Ricochet off the bench. They've got the 13th pick. They're building right now. The East is wide open, and obviously the New York Knicks will be firmly concentrated on the draft as well. And moves to come. Brooklyn received Terrence Mann, the 22nd pick in the draft. Boston, salary dump Kristaps, get Georges Niang and a second round pick, right? When we talk about a salary dump, guys, we're talking about the Boston Celtics, man. They just saved $180 million now with the 2 trades yesterday with Drew Holiday. And they are now $5 million below the second apron. Right, they saved $180 million in tax by dumping KP and Drew, man. And the New York Knicks ended, for the second time, another Boston core, going all the way back with the Melo, J.R. Smith era, when we ended the Ray Allen, Garnett, Pierce era. And now the New York Knicks have ended this current core of the Boston Celtics. No Drew Holiday. But it was basically Drew Holiday deal to get Anthony Simons. I love that deal for the Celtics. I don't know what the Blazers are thinking, man. But this one today, KP, they basically just threw him out the door, man. Can't stay healthy. Get us Georges Niang, a pick, and save a boatload of money, man. They're below the second apron, and they can obviously add some talent now and save for that new ownership. Right. But all eyes on us, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, there's trades happening left, right, and center. There might be a trade drop as we're live tonight. Hopefully there is. And we'll be here to break it all down with the best chat. Yuri Art in the house and Mets Knicks. Let's go. The biggest story that's just come through latest, obviously reporting Shams. The New York Knicks will be lining up their 3rd formal interview. This guy by the name of Micah Nori, he is the lead assistant with the Minnesota Timberwolves. He basically had a lot of success throughout his career as an assistant, but the spotlight is turned on to Micah Nori because he obviously had a great season. He stepped in for when Chris Finch missed time on the sidelines. His strengths, familiar with Karl Anthony Towns. He is an offensive-minded assistant, very creative, able to get the cat Rudy Gobert thing popping in Minnesota. Gerson Rosas, the deputy president of basketball ops with the Knicks, hired him in Minnesota as well. So a lot of admiration, and this is the next guy in line, as a lot of people are saying, to get a head coaching job. And the New York Knicks are now going to speak to him, or have spoke to him already. So reports Shams. There's a poll in the chat right now, guys. Speak your piece. Let us know who you feel should get the job. We now know that obviously Mike Brown A new report's come through that he interviewed well. It was a positive interview. Taylor Jenkins was a positive interview as well. And this guy obviously is well liked by the front office. But reporting today earlier, Ian Begley still thinks that Jason Kidd is a strong candidate for this job. He won't get the extension, well, he hasn't got the extension, sorry, yet. And that means that the door is still open for J Kidd. So I'm not closing the door on J Kidd either. You know, I won't be surprised if the front office, J Kidd's reps, something comes to a head. There's just got to be a reason why Dallas haven't come out and extended him. Now, a big advancement the other day, Jason Kidd lost his lead assistant, Sweeney, right? And the Knicks were interested in speaking with Sweeney as well. But he obviously now got the lead assistant job with the San Antonio Spurs. So they're fleeing the nest over in Dallas. Jason Kidd's losing assistants. He hasn't got the extension yet. What do you think? It's definitely still on the table. So let's see. Right now, my leading candidate still hasn't changed. Taylor Jenkins, I feel like will probably end up with the job. But I love this opportunity to, interview a high-rising, high-flying assistant now, Micah Nori, and we're going to go through some strengths tonight. It's not just a name that they're throwing out there. There is serious legs to this, ladies and gentlemen, with Micah Nori, able to get a good offense out of Minnesota with Karl-Anthony Towns, would come in familiarity with Gerson Rosas as well, right? Another Summer League update for y'all. I can confirm we have another Summer League player. He is a professional point guard coming out of Australia. Bawali Bales, formerly of the University of Hawaii, been a pro for a couple of seasons in the NBL and NBL 1 in Australia. He is a speedy point guard, a playmaking point guard as well, can get downhill. We will get a look at him. He's 23 years old, got a quick step, 6'1". Great to see him, get an opportunity. I mentioned the links with Brian Gorgian, a professional long-time coach in Australia. So, he's bringing over some talent from the NBL to help fill our New York Knicks Summer League squad. We'll look at some highlights of him as well later tonight too. We're getting through all the top of the news at the top of the show, and we'll get to the chat as well. Obviously, Steve Popper talking about the Micah Nori situation. John Krasinski, who covers the Minnesota Timberwolves as well, says he has extensive experience working with Cat, as previously reported on by The Athletic. He's got some humor, man. He's got some character. He's got some personality, as this video is going viral of all the halftime interviews done by Micah Nori, right? And look, his name is climbing in league circles. So we'll see how that plays out. But relating to the draft as well, Jonathan Wasserman of Bleacher Report, one of the biggest names in the industry, has given his thoughts on the New York Knicks target for 50. He says it's a safe bet that the team will move up in the second round. So that's music to my ears. Also, we'll get to some news on some potential draft prospect targets tonight. But Jonathan Wasserman reporting that the New York Knicks will be looking to move up. Chris Persianen of Clutch Points also reporting that the New York Knicks have interest in a rising prospect in the second round, and he is Adu Thiello, right? A 6'8" wing, physical profile, strong, a defensive menace with great tools as well. He's now slated to go early second round. So the New York Knicks reporting Chris Persianen that they have interest in Adu Thiello and players around that range. So the Knicks are going to have to move up to get Adu Thiello. He is a guy that's going to go top 35, top 40 right now. But I've got some other intel to drop on y'all as well, which is going to come up in a minute. A big trade earlier today. The Washington Wizards acquired CJ McCollum and Kelly Olynyk, right? And they send out Jordan Poole, right? And so the Washington Wizards, this is the new look Wiz, right? This is key relating to the Knicks because the New York Knicks have the top 8 protected Washington Wizards first round pick, ladies and gentlemen, for next season, right? It's more than likely still not going to convey next season. I think the Wizards are still borderline worst 5 teams in the league. But I respect CJ McCollum as a veteran, Kelly Olynyk. They've got Chris Middleton, if he can stay healthy. If a couple of their young players pop, they can win some games. So keep an eye out. Keep an eye out on that. A lot of people ruled out that Detroit's pick wasn't going to convey, and it did convey because they won some games. So let us know your thoughts on this new Wizards trade. CJ McCollum, Kelly Olynyk. A lot of veterans out there. Marcus Smart, Chris Middleton. I like Bob Carrington, and I definitely like Keyshawn George. So they're going to win some games, and all it takes is maybe 3-4 teams out west. If the Hornets continue to suck and tank, the Nets will continue to tank and stack talent. It might be close. It might be close, but I think the safer bet is that the pick won't convey into the first round, right? And the New York Knicks will get 2 seconds, but we'll find that out, fam. We'll talk about this later tonight as next season's coverage on Amazon Prime and NBC stacking up their squads. Which one do you like the most, fam? You got D. Wade, you got Udonis Haslem, you got Steve Nash, Candace Parker, you got Blake Griffin, Dirk, Taylor Rooks, and you've got Stan Van Gundy with Amazon Prime, and you got Reggie, and you got Melo, you got Vince Carter out here, Maria Taylor's back with NBC, right? I'm going to enjoy seeing Melo, definitely Melo. I like Vince. We'll see how that all plays out for next season, guys. Some workout news, courtesy of Ian Begley. Now, my thoughts on this as well, guys. The Knicks host Alabama center Clifford Omoyuri earlier in the week, right? And we had a multiplayer workout as well. It's been quite quiet on the workout front. And for those that are wondering why, there is a lot of angling by agents to get their clients, jockeying for selection. So a lot of these beat reporters, when it comes to workouts and draft, they know a lot more than some of them are able to report. Also, some of them choose not to report because, like I said, it does factor into where players get selected. And so the Knicks have worked out, they've worked out a ton of players, and we've hardly heard any names. But like I said, for good reason, because some of it is embargo, some of it is through intel. They're found out through the agents and things like that. But, like I said, agents are trying to get their clients jockeying. Oh, yeah, I worked out for 14 teams. I worked out for the Knicks, this and that. And that is why it's a little quieter on that front as well. But some of the names you hear reported are very, lower in the mock, in the NBA boards as well. So they are safer to announce in those situations. Right. We had another workout. Auburn's Dylan Cardwell worked out for the New York Knicks. Look, I think he's going to go undrafted. We'll see. But yeah, like I said, a lot of these names being leaked out or revealed now, they're not very high on the Knicks board right now. But there is obviously some traction from their workouts. Speaking of traction, man, the J Kidd situation just won't go away. But I think it all comes down to the extension. Until J Kidd gets that extension, then all cards are on the table. Reports Ian Begley, Steve Popper as well. Those guys know what is happening and very, very plugged in. Now, relating to some more draft intel, guys, this is a little bit more up my wheelhouse. Right, so 2 of the biggest mock drafts to come out and 2 of the biggest in the industry ESPN, Jonathan Gavoni, The Athletic, Sam Vecini have updated their final mocks. Well, it might not be the final one, but they've updated it today from yesterday in the last 24 hours. And basically, what they both have is the New York Knicks selecting Lachlan Olbrich out of Illawarra of the NBL in Australia. Very familiar with Lachlan and his game. I'll be a fan. I'll be a fan if the Knicks can select Lachlan. But where this is coming from, guys. So yesterday, Sam Vecini in the Athletics mock had the Knicks select Javon Small, the point guard. He's updated his mock today, right? But obviously he updates it based on feel, intel, and it's no coincidence. Jonathan Gavoni and Sam Vecini have their finger on the pulse, and they are very plugged in when it comes to the NBL, specifically Australian prospects. Sam Vecini lives in Australia and covers a lot of the NBL games and the draft prospects, the Next Stars program, all of that. And so there's a lot of smoke where this is coming from. It's not just their feel. My gut feeling is they obviously know a lot of agent talk. They know of workouts. Some of them can't report. But the fact that they've both updated their mock within the last day or so, and they both have Lachlan Olbrich going to the Knicks at 50. We'll break down his game in a minute. But Tankathon also have the New York Knicks selecting Lachlan Olbrich as well. But Tankathon, I think that guy's already spoken about how he updates his mock based on other mocks as well. So Tankathon's not really a source of intel. It's more of what the other, bigger outlets are doing, right? For those that are not familiar with Lachlan Olbrich's game, guys, I break it down for y'all right here. He's a tweener, a power forward center, but with real skills. Can dribble, can play make, got a huge wingspan. You see him protect the paint. Couple of seasons pro. Played college at UC Riverside. Ambidextrous. Shades of an Alfred Sengun type game. Shot up the boards basically with a great G League mini camp, and earned a combine invite and was a standout at the NBA combine with the 5-on-5 scrimmages right now. So a very versatile guy. He could play 5, could play 4, much stronger offensively than defensively, but can block shots, does have a great wingspan, has a huge hand, man. His measurables at the combine, believe it or not, his hand was taller than Kawhi Leonard, basically. So he's the next Claw. You see him able to finish around the basket, could put the ball on the floor, and can knock down the catch and shoot 3. Great measurables, and we'll see how that plays out. In my opinion, he's a plug and play guy. And I feel like he would fit with the Knicks. They need a guy that can eat minutes at the 4 and the 5, too. So with that and the Knicks intel from Chris Persiano that the Knicks are interested in Adu Thiero, and also from Jonathan Wasserman. They're the 3 key things that I take from today, guys, that the biggest mocks have updated the Knicks selecting Lachlan Olbrich. Reports Jonathan Wasserman, Bleacher Report, that the Knicks are also trying to move up. And Chris Persiano reporting the Knicks have interest in Adu Thielo, which is slated to go early in the second round. So there's a lot of smoke out there, guys. I think the Knicks will be trying to move up to get a Kobe Breyer. We'll talk about some more names tonight. I really like Kobe Breyer with this squad out of Kentucky. We need shooting. We also need some size too. Maybe James Nagy. My thoughts on him are that I think he's going to end up with a 2-way. I think that'll fill one of the 2-way spots. Maybe Kevin McCullough comes on to the roster and he gets a minimum deal. And then James Nagy will take Kevin McCullough's 2-way spot. Maybe vice versa. I guess it comes down to Summer League who shows out as well. But Just before we came on, guys, the Kristaps Porzingis trade, man, insane. What do you guys think about this? As Boston save $180 million, man. The Hawks have a starting lineup of Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, Okongwu, and Kristaps Porzingis, with Reese coming off the bench, and obviously the draft pick that they've got. Dirty Dancer says these trades are so drunk. There's a lot of team spare parts getting thrown around, man, and one man's trash is another man's treasure. But look, if KP can stay healthy, he'll help the Hawks, man. They could be a top 5 seed. I think they'll battle it out with the Orlando Tragic. David's frustrated. 2 big moves from Boston, and the Knicks haven't done anything with no coach. It's early. It's early, my friend. Just stay patient. There'll be some moves, but the Knicks, I think, will most part will run it back. I'm not worried about the coaching situation right now because they want to get the right guy. You know, they're not going to rush into things. They want to get the right guy. They want to interview a few people, get a feel for their ideas, you know, see what they think. You know, a lot of it is intel gathering as well. They'll know who's the leader in their clubhouse, but they're getting the feelers out there as well. And I also don't think this move today was Boston's big move, man. It was a salary dump. It was a salary dump. Kristaps for Georges Niang and a second-round pick. That makes them worse, in my opinion. Even 30 games of Kristaps makes them better than Georges Niang. But yesterday's trade, that does make them better. Anthony Simons, a good young talent. Can't play D though, but can create, can play, can score as well. Danny Ben Saraf is a young player who's about to be drafted. Plays in the Pro League, and his team is competing for the championship against Bayern Munich, a level above college. So, yeah, some international prospects. I like the fact that the Knicks are trying to move up. You know, to me that tells me, well, it's no surprise. I've alluded to the fact quite a lot, guys, recently that, you know, the Knicks will be trying to move up. As you see here, straight from the horse's mouth, Jonathan Wasserman, one of the most plugged-in guys relating to the draft. He says, I'd bet on the New York Knicks moving up into the early second round. So, theoretically, guys, I think the Knicks could package the 50th pick, and they have 7 future second rounders. They could say, hey, I do think it's going to be Charlotte, fam. If I pull this up, take a look at this. You got Charlotte selecting 33, Adu Thiero. No coincidence there, ladies and gentlemen. That's the player the Knicks are trying to get. But also, the Charlotte Hornets have the 34th selection as well. Ryan Kalkbrenner, who I like. I think the Knicks will like him as well. But I mean, how many bigs can we look at right now? We're trying to throw things against the wall. Let's see what sticks with James Nagy, Huck Porty, Mitchell Robinson, and Cat, Lachlan Olbrich. But yeah, that's where I think the Knicks can get. They won't get 31. You know, reports are that the Minnesota Timberwolves might select a big man that I'm hearing. I won't put that out there, but I'm hearing that Minnesota could be looking at another big man. But I don't think they're going to move on from their pick. Boston, I think they'll probably stay at 32. But yeah, this is where the Knicks will be looking to get in. So I would package pick 50, and they could package, you know, 2, 3 future seconds, and see if and cash. Like I said, don't forget about that cash considerations that the Knicks picked up in the Jericho DeLon Wright deal, $3 million. They could say, hey, what's up, Charlotte? The Knicks have a good relationship with the Charlotte front office, dating back with Thibodeau, Steve Clifford. You know, and they could say, you know, what up, Charlotte? Pick 33, 34. How about we take one of these off your hands? We'll give you 50. We'll give you $3 million cash. We'll give you a couple of future seconds, maybe even 3 future seconds. You know, Charlotte's trying to accumulate assets, you know. They're losing. They're just trying to accumulate as many assets as possible. So I think this is where the Knicks can get in. If they could get a Kobe Bryant, swoop in, home run. If they could get in and get an Adu Thiero, I think that'll be a good move. I like Janai Broom, and obviously Sion James. I like him as well. A strong wing out of Duke, but also Alex Tui, who I also spoke on in the last update. Check that out, y'all. The Knicks have connections via Alex Tui's head coach, Intel, covering the NBL. Like I said, more intel that I've given y'all, right? This is backing things up. Other big outlet, No Ceilings, fam. The great team at No Ceilings have updated their mock. And who do they have the New York Knicks select? Alex Tui with the 50th pick. So there's a lot of smoke coming out of the NBL with the New York Knicks. Obviously familiarity with the Leon Rose, the connections, Ariel Hukporti from last season. The Knicks are fans of the NBL as a development setting. You know, it's a strong pro league. Couple of seasons there, you know, marinate, season, get your game, you know, refined. Alex Tui, Lachlan Olbrich, Hukporti last season. That's what 4 mocks now have the Knicks selecting somebody out of the NBL. So No Ceilings have us selecting Alex Tui. Man, he's a plug and play guy, a great on and off ball defender. And like I said, man, our assistant coach in Summer League is Alex Tui's head coach in his pro team right now in the NBL. Right, so we welcome in Brian Gorgian, a big time assistant coach coming in for the Summer League, but a big time head coach in the NBL. He's going to bring his experience, connections to players, intel. He's coached against Lachlan Olbrich, who the other mocks have the Knicks selecting. There's a lot of smoke right now, guys. I'm hyped. But yeah, I do think the Knicks' number one aim will be to move up. I do believe in those reports that the Knicks will be looking to move up. And I'm excited if they can get a Kobe Bryant. He would be top of my list. You know, I do like Adu Thiero. I like Sion James. There's a heap of prospects. Also, if you guys want to quickly check out our point guard for Summer League, this is him right here. Had 11 assists in one of these games recently in the NBL 1. Rapid off the dribble. Can play make. Drop some nice dimes. Bawali Bales, 23-year-old. So he's going to fill the Summer League squad. I don't anticipate he will get, you know, anything further after that, but it's great experience for him. Great for him to be able to fill our squad, help us during Summer League, and also hopefully earn himself, you know, a future contract with some of the scouts, the teams that'll be watching. Now, he is an Australian point guard, an Indigenous Australian point guard, and also out of the University of Hawaii. So we can confirm he will be with the Knicks Summer League squad, as well as James Nagy and the rest of the New York Knicks Rooks, fam. I'm most looking forward to seeing Pacome Dardier. I mean, there's a lot of talk about wings, but I mean, we have to make a decision. Pacome Dardier is making serious first-round contract money, and he wasn't getting any game time, and that's a crime, man. That's a crime against humanity, right? You draft a player in the first round, you know, I'm not going to say it was a wasted year, but I know you got development in the G League, but, you know, he should have played more. Let's get to some comments now, guys. Appreciate your patience. Great to have you with us. You're rocking out with everyone here, and the streets are buzzing. Smash that like button. Um, Joe S says, who is leaving the Knicks? I hope we do not sign Payne. I think Precious will leave. I think Payne will leave as well. I do think PJ Tucker will leave, and he might come on later in the season when the salary, the prorated salary drops. I do think they'll prioritize more development guys. Thibodeau's not here. I do think Leon Rose is really, looking for a coach that's going to align with the front office, and really develop some talent. Would develop more talent, on our roster. And I like the pickup of James Nagy. Let's get a look at him. We have his draft rights. He went pick 31. I think at the very least he could be a two-way guy and be the fourth string center. And, if case there's injuries, he might surpass Huck Porty. I think he has potential. Mitchell Robinson, obviously, I think he's going to be here. I don't think anyone is going to foresee Mitch leaving. I think they want to run it back with Mitch and the squad with Karl Anthony Towns as well. Dirty Dancer really, really likes Thiero. Me too. And KNYT Salute says, I want Adu Thiero. Calipari is very high on him as well. Yeah, great shout. Connections as well from the front office, formerly Kentucky coach, connected with William Wesley. So, yeah, the Knicks really like Thiero. I understand that reporting from Chris Persianen and appreciate him bringing us that update. Yeah, some other names to look out for. So this is my breakdown of guys at 50. If they're there at 50 and the Knicks are at 50, can't pass. Can't pass on Kobe Brea. I like Micah Peavy. Eric Dixon has been linked to the Knicks quite a bit via his Villanova connection. Man, if the Knicks can move up, Tyrese Proctor is a guy that I think the Knicks will be looking at as well. Can play make on the perimeter, can pull up off the dribble, can defend at a decent level, got a good size as well, good length. Needs to put on a bit more weight, but got good length. When it comes to a guy like a Deuce McBride, Tyrese Proctor is a taller combo guard. For me, Janai Broom, I think he would bring attitude, he would bring physicality, shot blocking, a paint presence, and a great rebounder as well. Ambidextrous. We need more highly skilled guys that can finish. More of an offensive threat from the big man spot. That's why I like Lachlan Olbrich as well. Jameer Watkins, Sion James, and Chaz Lanier, I think is going to go maybe late first round, early second as well. So, yeah, for me, guys, the sweet spot is around 30 to 38. That's why the Knicks really want to get into that spot. There's rotation players in that spot. And I think whether it's Kobe Brea, Tyrese Proctor, Eric Dixon, Peavy, Adu Thiero, the Knicks want to be amongst that. And they can, pick 50, cash, maybe some future seconds. I think they can move up and get one of those picks from Charlotte. Also, as the Knicks like to do, they like to get busy after the draft is finished. Look out for some undrafted free agent signings to fill the training camp and possibly fill a two-way spot. There's always a name that slips for whatever reason. If these guys go undrafted, man, I need Leon to be calling their agent ASAP. Bogo Markovic, RJ out of St. John's, Diawara, I would bring in to training camp. Rocco Zakarski, although I think he has a promise. I think he's going to go in the second round. Izan Ilmansa. Lachlan Olbrich, if he goes undrafted, then it's a safe bet that the Knicks are going to bring him in. And Vlad Golden. I think people should check out Vlad Golden as well as another skilled big that can finish around the basket. Salute Darren, great to see you. Keith says they take their time Fans say hurry up and hire a coach. If they hire one quick, fans will say they should have taken their time. Can't win either way. Yeah, they're calm. They're calm. They're marching to their own beat right now. And I like this Micah Nori look in. Be ahead of the curve. Everyone's like, get Taylor Jenkins. Well, why don't we go ahead and go get the next Taylor Jenkins? Before he becomes that renowned head coach. Dirty Dancer says Lachlan has some nice stretch potential. Plays hard-nosed style for a young player. Yeah, he's super physical. He's super physical, and I've covered him, at events, live in the gym, and that's what has me a bit more high. I think he's bigger than he looks. You see him in person. I know he's a tweener out there on the court, but yeah, he's got a huge wingspan. He's filled out, and like I said, he's got the claw. The combine, he measured bigger hands than Kawhi Leonard, which is extraordinary. KNYT, what are your thoughts on Jonathan Pierre? I like him. I don't know his game as much as some of the other guys, so let us know your thoughts. But I like the fact that the Knicks are looking at wing help, looking at guys that can guard threes, fours as well. Positional versatility. Look at the playoffs. Look at OKC with Case and Wallace and Caruso and also Lou Dort. Look at Indiana. I really think the Knicks could tap into that switchable defense. That's what I said before the season began, man. We pulled off moves to get switchable guys, and it took Thibodeau until the playoffs to deploy a switchable defense. That's the strength of OG Anunoby. He could switch. Mikal Bridges, he's scrawny, so fighting over screens is not exactly ideal all the time. So switch. And a lot of those guys can hold their own. Who's going to dominate them on the switch? It's the Brunsons and the Cats that you have to worry about, when it comes to the switch. But I do like switchable guys, fam. Yeah, Keith, second round picks are about to become very valuable with the way the NBA is set up now. And you can't just trade consecutive first round picks. Yeah, and also, man, talent is getting deeper, man. The NBA needs to expand ASAP. And I think they're going to announce very soon that Seattle and Vegas is coming in, fam. Because every year we see 60 players get drafted. There's the two ways now, but a lot of these guys won't make rosters, man. They're squeezed out. And then veterans get squeezed out. You got guys like, Dennis Smith Jr. couldn't be on a roster, man. Mook Morris was supposed to be with the Knicks. And then the Mook Morris thing came out that, the cat trade happened and the Knicks sort of changed direction and Mook Morris was left without a team. He could have been on our squad. So, yeah, with more picks, deeper talent, the league got to expand, man. I think that's why Adam Silver is going to bring in this Euro League, like a NBA Euro League, so they can swap talent, they can make trades, and I think guys more develop. And look, for those of y'all fans of soccer and European soccer and different divisions and that, I really feel like the NBA has dropped the ball with the G League. The G League could have been done so much better, man. Just scrap the whole G League concept and just make it a real league. Just make it like the second division. And any player in the NBA can go down and get minutes with the other with a club in the other league. You scrap the G League name and make it a real league. Increase the salaries, TV deal, TV rights. Who wouldn't tune in for more professional ball? You could have some good veterans on there. Maybe that can't make a bigger team. Look like the big three. Me and my Nick says the Knicks are so tight-lipped, it's hard to know what is going on with this team. Yeah. Look, yeah, I know it's frustrating. I feel you as a fan. We want to know more, and I try to bring you what I know. But obviously, with this front office, man, a lot of front offices are the same now. They move in silence. I'm hearing from Boston fans that they're so hyped that they pulled off the Anthony Simons deal, man. Nobody knew. I mean, but at the same time, we knew that Drew Holiday was going to get traded, man. I mean, that was the worst kept secret. But I didn't expect they were going to be able to get Anthony Simons. That was a coup. I'm not going to lie. That was, to turn a washed up 36-year-old massive salary Drew Holiday for a young talent like Anthony Simons. That was a great deal. That was a great deal. So Eddie says 100% CT. The Knicks need young players with low contracts to fill out the roster since we don't have much cap space. But yeah, more so that these guys could be something, man. They can develop. Look at Golden State. Look at OKC finding guys, the San Antonio Spurs. I mean, a lot of these guys can play if they get opportunities. Like, I know a lot of people look down on certain, lesser heralded talent, but I mean, y'all see it every year. Players come out of nowhere, man. Jalen Wells? We could have picked him up in the second round, man. People were sleeping on Ryan Dunn. Comes out and the 3-point shot looks better to begin last season. GG Jackson. This is where the Knicks should really separate themselves, man, with their draft scouting. Finding guys like an Ariel Huckporty, finding guys like, Kevin McCullough, hitting on those guys late in the draft, right? Those guys could be real rotation pieces. And I think lost in all of this Thibodeau hoopla is that, for me, I think that's the biggest reason, or maybe the second or first biggest reason why Leon and co decided to move on from Tom. Because no one's doubting Tom Thibodeau's credentials. Like, he could get a team to overachieve, and he could get a team to get close. But the differences are fine margins, and you have to extrapolate the best you can get out of the roster, fam. And like I said earlier, we may have lost a year of development for Tyler Kolek, Bacome Dardier, another year gone by on their rookie contracts. And then what's going to happen? A second year, maybe Thibodeau didn't play them again. And then it turns into an Obi Toppin situation. We are forced to throw the asset away for pennies on the dollar. And, everyone's clowning the Knicks during the finals when Obi was getting, big time shine. We threw him away for 2 seconds. And I know Obi had a lot of ups and downs, but just the way Thibodeau handled that situation, we lost value. We lost value on that asset. And Leon was not happy about that. Leon Rose used to be, Obi's agent. Leon Rose, close to the family. That was his pick. That was Leon Rose's first draft pick as president. And the Obi Toppin situation, it turned to dust. Basically, we can't have that happen again and again and again, man. Another year or Kolek doesn't get minutes, then he's 24, 25 years old. And so, yeah, I like this new direction, and I'm looking forward to seeing these guys get opportunities now, and be aggressive, continue to move up. Dorkosaurus Rex, great to see you, Sharp Powers, Danny Landers, Vaughn in the building. Dorkosaurus Rex says the craziest part is that the Knicks are really good at drafting, and we pay extra to trade for stars, which doesn't even look like the way to win anymore in this current new era we're going into. I think, development's key. Like, look at Aaron Nesmith. Boston threw him away, and Indiana were able to turn him into, a prime I mean, the stock of Aaron Neesmith can't get any higher right now, man. Andrew Nembhard. Everyone's looking for the next Andrew Nembhard, which is kind of crazy. Danny says Mook great for our bench. Buzzer Beater says Mook might be cooked for now. Yeah, so in that interview, Mook Morris confirmed that he was happy to play the PJ Tucker role. Just even if he wasn't going to get game time, he was just cool to be here as that vet, the unk, and be the enforcer role. And he even said that he felt like the Knicks needed that. And I agreed. I think the Knicks needed some tougher mindset in that locker room, Not to disrespect these guys because they're winners in that locker room, but I think they need a tougher mindset when it comes to, being more, just being more hostile. I think, the Knicks had a target on their back this season, after they made all those moves, fam. And I really feel like we need more Rough Riders. Simple as that. One of the things that really, really pissed me off was the game in Golden State, right? What was the anniversary of Karl Anthony Towns' mother's passing? Draymond Green comments in the national media on the podcast, went out with that crazy disrespect. You had Lisa Salters, question or ask Karl Anthony Towns on the sidelines about the Draymond Green stuff, right, while the game's going on. I mean, that was crazy. And then after the game, you had guys like PJ Tucker, you had Mikal Bridges, and guys dap up and hug up Draymond Green, while Karl Anthony Towns went straight to the locker room. If that doesn't tell you that there's some kind of disconnect between some of these guys in that locker room, man, then there's no other greater example than that. There was, look, even if they didn't want to really get into nothing with Draymond, I understand. It's a different kind of league now, but at least just rock with your teammate and just go straight to the locker room. Karl Anthony Towns was going through a lot in that situation, and that was a I think it was a disappointing night with that situation. We need more guys like a Mook Morris, kind of like it's us against the world. Look at him get into it. Remember when he got into it with Justin Anderson and he slammed the ball on top of his head? We need those bully Knicks back. Look at Detroit with, Dennis Schroeder, with Malik Beasley doing the shimmy and all these guys trying to punk us. Nah, I don't want to see that happen anymore. I don't want to see that happen anymore right now. Like I said, the Draymond disrespect, I mean, that was crazy. Some other news around the league. Matisse Thybulle has picked up his option, so he was a target for me with the mid-level, with the taxpayer mid-level, but he's off the board right now. The New York Knicks are looking to move up, reporting Jonathan Wasserman, and I think we should get into that early second round so that we can get a Tyrese Proctor, we can get a Kobe Brea, or we could get a Adu Thiero, a Sion James. Reports that the Knicks are really high on him as well. It's a pretty good second round. I'm not going to lie. I think we can definitely find a productive player. Hopefully a player that has physical toughness and size. None of these projects that need more seasoning. I'm looking for a plug and play guy. We already have a couple of guys that we can focus on their development with Dardier, Huck Porty, McCullough, and that. Let us know who you would like us to target, fam. As the coaching search continues, we're getting closer. Are we? I think we're getting closer. Micah Nori is a guy that has a lot of respect around the league. The sample that he filled in with Chris Finch, Minnesota, they went on a great run, great season. and his name is climbing around league circles. So I like that the Knicks are looking to bring him in for an interview, and have interviewed him, and that means that we are trying to, find the next Taylor Jenkins. It's not just about looking at Taylor Jenkins. It's like, okay, let's find another guy that might be better. We might find a guy out there that deserves a shot, and it's innovative, forward thinking, and he can get the most out of a Karl Anthony Towns offense. This is a guy who Gerson Rosas hired in Minnesota as well, and a guy that they'll know all about. Yeah, I agree, Eddie. Plus MSG, it needs to be a house of horrors for all of these teams. I think it's just the players on the court. They set the tone. You have to want to rep and protect MSG. We had a special group of cats, Eddie, in the 90s that they were always looking to get into it. Charles Oakley, Anthony Mason, Patrick Ewing, John Starks, they all came up with a chip on their shoulder, fam. We need guys like that. We have passed up on a couple of guys like that in the draft. Terrence Shannon Jr. was a guy, people were looking at. I know the Cooler and my guy was looking at as well, who looks at the draft closely. Terrence Shannon, we need some guys with some more aggro. Them against the world kind of situation. It comes from within. That fire and desire has to come from within. Some of these kids that have been spoiled coming up, they want to get into the league just so they can say they're in the league. They want to get paid. They want to live that lavish lifestyle. I get it. But it takes a different kind of mindset. James, Micah Nori is beloved there as well. Finch isn't. That's very, very interesting, fam. I know the Knicks inquired about Chris Finch, but they rejected us. So they want to keep Finch. Let's take Nori. We talk about the Porzingis trade earlier, the top of the show. Salary dump for the Celtics, but good pickup, I think, for the ATL Hawks. And I think the East is slowly starting to get more competitive, fam. I think if the Hawks can all stay healthy, they should be a top 4 or 5 seed. With Dyson Daniels another year, Okongwu, Ricochet, Jalen Johnson, and those guys. The Knicks need to bring some toughness. I like Elijah Martin as well, Shay. Great name. Great shout. Great pickup. He's a little undersized, 6'2", 6'2", 3/4, almost 6'3", maybe a little bit taller than Deuce McBride, but strong build, high hops, athletic as hell. Can finish above the rim. A great defender as well. Growing offensive skill set with the 3-point shot. I think that's another reason why the Knicks want to move up, fam. They'll have a lot of options if they can move up. We covered the huge trade, guys. Y'all that don't know, Kristaps Porzingis headed to the Atlanta Hawks in a salary dump. The Boston Celtics get George Niang minivan and a second-round pick. Right? They get minivan and a second-round pick, and they dump Kristaps. Atlanta get Kristaps, a second-round pick. The Brooklyn Nets get Terrence Mann from the Hawks to now the Brooklyn Nets, and the 22nd pick. But what's very, very interesting now, guys, is the Brooklyn Nets have so many picks. As we look at the Hawks rotation, Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, Okongwu, KP. Off the bench, they got Ricochet, Karis LeVert, the 13th pick, and whoever else. So that's a very good squad. That's a very good squad, man. I'd put that ahead of the Orlando Magic, in my opinion. Because I think Jalen Johnson's great. Dyson Daniels is going to get better. If Porzingis is healthy, they can hide a lot of Trae Young's weaknesses. We'll see how that plays out. But smart trade from the Celtics as well. Obviously, when you can save 180 million in tax penalties, that's what they got to do. But yeah, here's the Brooklyn Nets, right? They're a team to watch with huge cap space. They're trying to go and position themselves for a Giannis trade. Because we all know Giannis, if he was to leave Milwaukee, he likes New York. He likes New York City. He won't care if it's the Brooklyn Nets or the New York Knicks. He likes New York City. And the Brooklyn Nets are positioning themselves to be able to make a Godfather offer. They've got the most cap space with the Wizards. And they've now got 5 first-round picks in this draft alone, and 6 in the top 40, man. What are they going to do? What are they going to do with all those picks, man? 6 picks in the top 40 in this draft coming up. Now, Giannis hasn't made his decision yet. He's waiting. He's waiting to see what happens, what shakes out. But I won't be surprised if the wheels behind the scenes, the wheels are moving behind the scenes. What do you guys think? I think the Knicks gave up chance to get Giannis with giving up all of their picks. I don't think the Knicks can put together an offer good enough, fam. Mars Jetson says the Micah Nori interview is complete. So yeah, I like that. Salute to you. Just Nick says they spoke to him earlier as well. So, yep, Darren says the Brooklyn Nets is a team to keep an eye on becoming winners in the draft. Also, the Washington Wizards. I like their moves. Getting rid of Jordan Poole. Get him out of there. They bring in Chris Middleton. They obviously bring in CJ McCollum. Some really solid veterans. For us guys, we should be rooting for the Washington Wizards to win games. Altango says, I think the East is ours for the taking. I agree, but for how long? Because the cavalry is coming, fam. They're coming. Teams are making moves right now. That's why I want us to get a plug-and-play guy, man. I think look out for the Knicks to get aggressive and try to get a plug-and-play guy in the second round, right? We already know, like, we might not even want to use the taxpayer mid-level, fam. Now, just to hit on that for a second, as I bring the roster up, fam, one of the reasons the Knicks could be looking to move up, maybe get 2 second-rounders so they can fill their roster out, is because free agency's a crapshoot, man. You just don't know. And also, if the Knicks want to spend their $5.7 million taxpayer exception, it's going to hard cap them at the second apron, no matter how much they spend. I know Yossi Goslin put out something that, by getting James Nagy on a second round exception deal, it could give them more wiggle room. But even under the CBA, if the Knicks use any of the taxpayer exception, they'll automatically be hard capped at the second apron. So we might be looking at veterans minimums only and second round pick exceptions. That's all we might be looking at, unless we make a trade. There's no noise, no buzz on any trades right now. Everything seems calm on that front. And I expect that there won't be. I think Mikal Bridges will stay. I think he'll get an extension. Mitchell Robinson, they might wait. They might just see what plays out during the season before they commit any money. I think that would be wise because, again, we want to try to skirt the second apron for as long as we possibly can. But I feel if there is a trade, it won't be any of the Villanova guys, Hart, Mikal Bridges. I think Leon Rose in the front office will keep that intact for another year, bring that back, right? And I think either, Cat, OG, Mitchell Robinson, or Deuce would be more likely than Mikal. Because if you look at the optics, I mean, you traded 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges. You can't flip him in 1 year. Like that's suicide for a president. That just shows that, you're cutting your losses in 1 year. So theoretically, they're going to bring it back. They're going to see what Mikal Bridges looks like. Also, the second layer to that is look at Jalen Brunson's extension. Look at the deal that he took to aid the acquisition of Mikal Bridges, and that situation. So I think Mikal Bridges is pretty safe. I think he'll be coming back second year. They'll do an extension. I do think a trade of the other guys would be more likely. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying it's just more likely than a Mikal trade. But the fact that we haven't heard anything, I think with a new coach, with Cat, OG, Mitch, I think that, these guys will be here. And I think we'll add our talent around them. Hopefully some difference makers with the veterans minimum. I mean, now's the time to use their pull, fam. We're winners. We're contenders in the East. If we can't pull a good veterans minimum guy that wants to come to New York City and experience what we experience, then we're never going to pull a good veterans minimum guy. Now's the time. Who that is, I don't know, man. I think Al Horford on a veterans minimum would be a good pickup. If you can persuade Gary Trent to take less money, because he would earn more money, but if you can persuade him to take less and be a legend, be a superstar in New York, with a big run and certify his legacy, he might be interested in a minimum. Heck, Kelly Oubre, he might be done with all the losing now. He might be like, you know what? I've been flirting with the Knicks for a minute. I've been losing. Now's my time. I can be on a winning team in New York City. Effort, I'll take a minimum. Gershwan Yabusele, just got back into the league. He might be like, you know what? Leon, the front office, they promised me 25 minutes a night. I can parlay that into a good contract. I'll take the minimum. So that's what I'm looking at, guys. I think, unless we can trade a body out and save some money, we will be looking at minimum guys and the draft class, which is a bit of a crapshoot at this stage. Jason, I don't think Mikal's going to go anywhere. I think they'll run it back with a new coach, and look, it might be beneficial, hopefully, for both reputations. Think about it. Think about we run Mikal Bridges back, and he looks more like the Mikal Bridges that we know from Phoenix, and we hope with a new coach. How much better does that make Leon Rose look? How much better does that make Mikal Bridges look? And it's going to make Thibodeau look worse, So they have an opportunity to save some face. If they trade Mikal Bridges right now, depending on what we get back, which probably not going to be comparable value, then it makes things look 100 times worse. So, I don't think it's, it's like intel to suggest that Mikal Bridges, is going to come back. But speaking of intel, guys, pay attention to this. Two of the latest major mock drafts now projecting the New York Knicks in the last 24 hours, both suggesting that the New York Knicks will pick up Lachlan Olbrich, a combo forward center who could basically dribble, create a shot, can get to the basket, got some hops, got a huge wingspan as well. And his game reminds me of an Alfie Sengun. Let us know your thoughts coming out of the NBL. Look at that. Razzle dazzle. Can create hands measured at the combine bigger than Kawhi Leonard. His hands are massive, man. So he can finish around the basket strong. He can hold onto that ball tight. He can finish around the hoop as well. Got good IQ, can pass it. Played 1 year college at UC Riverside as like an 18, 19-year-old. Then he turned pro. He played pro league with the NBL Next Stars, so he didn't forfeit his eligibility. Earned a NBA Combine invite through a standout performance at the G League minicamp, and then went on to proceed to dominate the 5-on-5 NBA Combine scrimmages, exactly like remember Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes didn't have that buzz until he hit the Combine with the 5-on-5 scrimmages, where he dominated, and that caught the eye of Tom Thibodeau. But on the flip side, Lachlan Olbrich isn't a surprise to Knicks scouts or draft scouts. He's been in the NBL for a couple of seasons now, and he's also played against Ariel Hukporti last year. When the Knicks were scouting Ariel, they also got to see Lachlan Olbrich as well. I see some people say AK-47. Yeah, I like that. Dorcosaurus, is he Irish? I don't know of his ancestry, but he's Australian. Yeah, he's from Australia right now, living in Australia. But what I know, and I tell you what I know, is that Jonathan Gavoni of ESPN and Sam Vecini of The Athletic, they're two of the biggest names in the industry, but they're very, very plugged in to the NBL, the prospects out of there, the agents, and the movements. Sam Vecini lives in Australia right now as well. And the last 24 hours, coincidentally, they both update their mock draft and they change who the New York Knicks were selecting. They changed them in the last 24 hours, and they're both suggesting that the Knicks pick up Lachlan Olbrich now. And obviously, if you factor in the Knicks' connections with Brian Goorjian now, who's coaching our summer league, he's the head coach in the NBL right now. You look at Ariel Hukporti, the Knicks like the talent from last season. Connect the dots. Obviously, draft night, anything can change, anything can happen, but I think there's some very, very warm links to this situation right now. The Knicks will be looking to move up, though, and see if they can pick up another guy who's projected to go earlier, Adu Thiero. In terms of the guys I like, as I went through it before, here we go, fam. This is a great pick. So this could be our guy, man. Lachlan Olbrich. He's worked out for a ton of teams. Here we go with Cleveland. Who is he standing next to? Big man Anderson Varejao, man. Y'all all know Anderson Varejao. Well, Anderson Varejao is a center, man. Look at his hands. Look at his hands compared to Lachlan Olbrich's hands, man. He measured to have the biggest hands at the combine. Bigger than Kawhi Leonard, fam. Those are some big paws, man. Right there, he can cuff the ball, can finish strong above the rim. So that'll be very, very interesting to see how that plays out. Now, yes, those prospects that I had, these are my guys. I think Kobe Bryant, you just can't pass on him. I know that name is the hottest name attached to the Knicks for most fans right now. The guy is just an absolute sharpshooter, a guy that can plug and play right now. You can't leave open. 47% from downtown. Got good length as well. Kentucky connections. Um, I like Eric Dixon. I mean, a guy that with that shooting touch, 6'8", another similar forward to Lachlan, where he can get downhill, can score 23 points a game, man. If you can get him late in the second round, you got to take him. Tyrese Proctor as well, Janai Broome, Jameer Watkins, Sion James, Shaz Lanier as well. So those are the guys that I would take. The draft starts tomorrow, second round the day after of that. Man, let the games begin. Summer League, we can focus on that after we announce our newest Nick. And I'm sure we will select somebody. And we do need to fill our roster out, right? As the NBA movements are in full effect now with Kristaps Porzingis moving on. Salute coach. Dirty says the good list. I like the list. Not big on Jameer though. Who else would you like to see us take? I think it'd be cool if we could get a guy that's undrafted as well. We could control him on a two-way. Coach, yeah, 6'11", shooting forward out of Serbia, Bogo Markovic. My concern with Bogo is that his handle's not very tight, and so he's a good stretch four, but really skinny, man. He needs to fill out, and I think he won't be ready. He won't be ready to see many minutes, early for us. I'd rather us get a more stout defensive player, someone we can plug and play. Yeah, Dirty. I think we will get a lot more trades though tomorrow, so that could set the table. Maybe the Knicks can already pull off the trade. Janai Broome, Johnny. Yep, I like him. I like him as well. I think he'll be a great fit alongside Huck Porty. He could play the four next to Huck Porty or Cat as well. Now look, I'll be lying if I say I'm not keeping an eye out on us stacking up bigs. If we take another big, together with Najee, Huck Porty, Cat, Mitchell Robinson, soon to be a free agent, maybe the writing will be on the wall. Maybe I'm reaching, but I mean, how many bigs can we select? We got the super chat from Yuri Ark. Salute. Great to have you with us. For right now, this search for the coach can take a long time. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a coach before camp. I feel like they got their coach in Nori. Actually, that could be the guy, I really love to find out how that interview goes. Yuri, I appreciate you for the contribution, rocking with us. Salute to you. And great comment. I'm okay with them taking their time, I know a lot of people might be a little stressed that, look, we got the draft, what's happening? But the truth is, guys, the 50th pick, it's not going to matter who's our coach, Where the front office is picking a coach based on what they can get out of this current roster, right? The new coach won't have their choice of choosing players. No, they're trying to sell the front office on making the most out of what we already have. And as for free agency, well, I don't anticipate a very complex free agency, man. We're probably already negotiated with Landry Shamet, How does that go? Hey, Landry, we like what you did. What do you think about coming back on the minimum? You'd be like, yeah, I'm down. That's one free agent sorted. Precious, Campaign, PJ, they probably want to look for new opportunities where they can get more game time. I'm sure a Campaign will stick in the league. I'm sure somebody, saw what he could provide for the Knicks with the value on a veteran's minimum. And it was solid value, throughout the regular season. He's a guy that you can put out there, that can give you minutes. But for us with a Tyler Kolek, in draft picks, it's time for us to develop now. It's time for us to not waste roster spots and not do double ups. You can't have Brunson, Payne, DeLon Wright, and Tyler Kolek on a contract. Try to get more size, try to get more shooting, and go that route. Tyler Kolek, the time is now, man. Step up, take that opportunity. We'll see what happens in Summer League. Same thing with Dadier, man. Now's the time for him. I think he could get some minutes this season. Maybe Kevin McCullough. But yeah, I think we're looking at a guy in the draft to replace Precious. As El Tango asks, who's taking Achua's spot? I think it'll be somebody we draft. I think we will draft a 3-4-5 guy who can guard multiple positions. That's why we're looking at Alex Tui, Lachlan Olbrich, Adu Thiero, Micah Peavy. We're looking at Janai Broom. I think we're looking at some of those guys as well, fam. Kevin McCullough is here. He's on the payroll. He's 6'6". He could guard power forwards as well on the switch. On the post-up. He could guard post-ups. He could guard fours. And he could face guard 2s and 3s. Kevin McCullough, you have to make a choice on him as well. We'll see how that plays out. But yeah, I'm hyped for tomorrow night. We'll be live tomorrow night and then the day after as well. Keep it locked in, guys. You've got the streets buzzing. And let's hope some more activity is popping right now. I'm enjoying this time of year, but the East is wide open and some other teams are starting to go for it, man. Wizards acquiring CJ McCollum, right? And they've got Chris Middleton. They're trying to win some games now. Will they be very good? I doubt it. Hopefully, though, they can win some games and be in the top 22 teams, fam. With our pick top 8 protected. Let's see how that plays out. As for Boston, they got a great pickup, Anthony Simons, but Kristaps Porzingis, that's going to hurt them a little bit from the 5 standpoint. They can't afford Luke Cornett, I don't think. Maybe they can now. Maybe that was a move so that they could keep Luke Cornett. But Al Horford, we'll see if he can shake loose. He would be a good pickup to take out of Boston as well. More intel coming through. Peace, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow night. Let's go Knicks.